It can happen on the weekend because the gap's going to be filled. And remember, Tuesday is May 7th, which represents the next new moon, which we know represents local market tops in markets. So 0 to 3 days after the lunar event, which would mean 7th, 8th, or 9th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do expect for this 85K target to be met. That is my Bitcoin thesis. This is why I believe it will happen soon, and that we should get a significant move this weekend, and that we can get one despite the fact that you would be creating a significant CME gap. My name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for almost daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is May 4th, 2024. And I just made a video yesterday, but I'm making a new video today because I believe that we're going to get an unlikely weekend move, a significant weekend move, something that we don't typically see. It's going to be a big move in Bitcoin, around 30% as far as I'm seeing, but an even bigger move in altcoins. So if that interests you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's get right into the analysis. Okay, so what I'm looking at for Bitcoin is a move to 85K, as I said in the previous video. But a difference from my previous analysis is I don't believe that we're likely to experience any significant pullbacks before that target. So previously in yesterday's video, I had said that once we hit this midline, we were likely to retrace a bit. Okay, we still may get a retracement, but I don't expect any significant retracements, the likes of, something like this, right, as I drew up previously. And this is the tricky bit about real impulsive price action. In my experience, corrective price action is more corrective than people expect or anticipate. Impulsive price action is more impulsive than people expect or anticipate, okay? It goes for, impulsive up and impulsive down, right? Impulsive down is like, oh my God, it won't stop going down. It just keeps going down. Impulsive up, it won't stop going up. It just keeps going up. This is one of the hundreds of notes I've left for myself, observations on the charts that, hey, why did you misread that? Hey, why did you miss that read? Oh, you didn't expect that, and I wrote that note, and now I'm bringing that to bear. Okay, and one of the reasons is not just like, okay, a random idea. Here's why. Okay, one of the main reasons I say this is, if you look at what Bitcoin's doing right now, at this very moment, it is breaking this resistance of this downwards wedge, okay? This downward sloping wedge is breaking resistance and is essentially all of the resistance represented by being in that wedge is being released here, okay? And in this release, we should get a move. Question is, where does that move go to? Why do I keep saying 85K? Okay, now, 85K is simply the target that allows us to break out and then come back. We have to come back. We have to come back because this midline of 60 days is very important. It has to be retested. There is no legitimate breakout of this 60-day channel. In my experience, there is no legitimate breakout of this 60-day channel without a retest of that midline, okay? And why do I say that this weekend is likely for that to happen, okay? Why can't it happen next weekend, or why can't it happen during the week? As, we all understand that Bitcoin is a inverse function of the US dollar currency index. If the dollar is weak and falls, then Bitcoin rises. So how can we get weekend moves if the US dollar currency index isn't even trading on Saturdays? Well, you create something called CME gaps, okay? Chicago Mercantile Exchange gaps. But those gaps eventually are filled. So if we do move this weekend, we would be creating a significant gap. And, just for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you can actually look at these gaps on the Bitcoin chart, right? They're created all the time and they're filled pretty much all the time. So just as an example, on the daily time frame, this was a down gap that was filled. So here, just look at this. Just so everybody is on the same page, everybody understands what I'm talking about, because I don't know that everybody understands what a CME gap is, okay? So here we have the close of trading, right, on Friday. So Friday, April 12th, okay? That was it. We created this candle, and then we had more trading on Saturday, okay, down, Sunday, down, and then into the week, we kept going down, but because we had stopped trading on Friday, okay, and there's no more DXY trading on Friday afternoon, Friday evenings, right, and into Saturday, Sunday, you created this gap right here, this down gap, right, because you opened back up on Sunday evening or Monday down here. So you ended trading here, you opened up down here. That's a down gap. You see that? And so this has to be filled in very predictably. Into the week, you come up, fill the gap. Even though you continue to go down, you eventually filled that gap. So that's what is a CME gap is called, and that's what is typically filled. Now, keeping that in mind, if we did indeed effectuate a move to 85,000 this weekend, what would happen? Well, we would create another gap, right? We would go up, but all of this would be gapped. So coming back down would not only fulfill the retest of this very, very, very important midline of the 60-day channel, but also would fill the CME gap. So that's my thesis. This is why I really do believe that 85K is likely to happen. It can happen on the weekend because the gap's going to be filled. And remember, Tuesday is May 7th, which represents the next new moon, which we know represents local market tops in markets. So 0 to 3 days after the lunar event, which would mean 7th, 8th, or 9th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do expect for this 85K target to be met. That is my Bitcoin thesis. This is why I believe it will happen soon, and that we should get a significant move this weekend, and that we can get one despite the fact that you would be creating a significant CME gap. Guys, if you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe. Consider buying me a coffee. Now, I said this was going to be likely a big weekend move for Bitcoin, but even bigger move for altcoins, and I'm going to tell you why. So, that being said, if Bitcoin does make this move to 85K, we get a 33% move to the upside, okay? If Bitcoin makes a 33% move to the upside, a lot of mid to small cap alts are going to do a lot more. Let's go into my watch list, into the assets that I'm trading, just to get an example as to what this looks like. We're starting with Balancer. Okay. So Balancer is an altcoin that's probably considered a low cap altcoin. Okay. And if you were to move from where we're at right now to the next logical resistance, I don't think the next logical resistance is necessarily this downward sloping line, although that is some resistance. I think The next logical resistance is the top of this move right here, and then a retest of that downward sloping line as support would be the heinous retest, the heinous move down that you could expect after all of this is said and done. But essentially, a move up, if Bitcoin moved up 33%, Balancer, for instance, would be moving up twice as much, 67%. This is expected, right? In low cap altcoins. When Bitcoin makes a big move, you can 2x it in a bull market. Polkadot is another one that I'm trading right now. And you can see Polkadot is putting in a very nice W reversal. Okay, this is typical in terms of bottoms, rounded bottoms that we see. And I actually see that this may be a nice pattern trade in the sense that we can take the height of this W pattern, superimpose it from the site of breakout, and get our target of $10 even, pretty much. And that also coincides with a Fibonacci retracement of the previous downtrend, giving us the 786 Fibonacci retracement level, which is coincident with this level right here, which is support, this level right here, which is resistance. So both sides of the aisle are showing me that this is a likely target, because when the price is above it, it's being supported by it. It breaks down, it retests it as resistance right here. So I really like this, $10. And just looking at what kind of percent gain that would be, that's about a 38% move, 39% move. So Bitcoin moves 33%. Polkadot, which is considered a high cap altcoin, right? One of the top 10, top 20 altcoins, should move just a little more than Bitcoin. I can see that happening. Moving on. Hook, low cap altcoin, very clear resistance, a rising resistance. This rising wedge is a 66-day event. Okay, so for 66 days, we're rising in this wedge. It broke down. When you come back up and meet it, it's obviously going to be resistance. So I think this is a straightforward enough play. My next logical resistance is not necessarily going to be the top of this W reversal down here. Rather, it's going to be the bottom of this rising wedge, right? And then a move back down would retest the neckline of this W resistance. So for me, I see Hook going 90%, which makes sense because this would be considered a low cap altcoin, maybe 2 to 3 times the move Bitcoin would do, right? 90% to the way up, and then that retest would probably take place over some period of time, retesting the neckline of this W reversal. So that's what I see in a Hook. Lit entry, very similar. You're dealing with that rising wedge once again. You break up, you meet that rise, or that rising wedge, or that support, that failed support of rising wedge is now resistance, and then a retest would retest the neckline of this W reversal. So I see lit entry, which is by all accounts a low cap altcoin, moving about 66% to the upside in this case. Quant, I see this as breaking this neckline right here that has been, again, this was a rising wedge, right? Broke down from that rising wedge. Now it's going to be resistance, but not as staunch of resistance as we saw in the 2 previous examples, because it's been tested once, twice. This would be 3rd time. I think on the 3rd time you break and retest. So for me, I have this as a pattern trade. I'm going to take the height of whatever this W reversal pattern is, superimposed from the site of breakout, thereabouts, giving me this target. About, let's see, 46, 45, 46, 50% to the upside, something like that. So those are just examples of what altcoins can do. You can really understand all of this through looking at the total three. Total three is representative of the amalgam of altcoins minus Bitcoin minus Ethereum. And you can see that W reversal is here. And that W reversal at present, on the 4-hourly time frame at least, is looking like it is in a bullish impulse. And what you want to do in a bullish impulse is get the hell out of the way. Find an entry and get the hell out of the way. Do not try to overtrade it. Okay, and this is what I started the video saying. You're likely to get a continuation of that impulse up until you reach the next logical staunch resistance. And the next logical staunch resistance on this total 3 chart is the top of this move right here. So just in the amalgam, you can see, actually, you know what? I would say, no, the next logical resistance is beyond the top of that move. I would say if I was trading, if total 3 was an asset, I would take my Fibonacci retracement tool, and go up here so that my retest would be a retest of the top of this W reversal, something like that. So going up and then coming back down, something like that, okay? But in any case, you can see the general trend of what I've been showing you in the various altcoins that I'm trading. You can see that on the total 3. You're currently in impulse, and that impulse is currently going to fill these imbalances right here, right? And just continue. And maybe this is a pattern trade, I don't know, right? W, height of this W, superimposed from the side, I don't know. But that's just an idea as to why this could be a very big weekend in altcoins. And last but not least, looking at Bitcoin dominance. If indeed altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin this weekend, we should see a fall in Bitcoin dominance. And that's exactly what we're seeing playing out on the 4-hourly time frame. You can see, I mentioned this yesterday, this rising wedge that's been in play since November or October of 23. So that's about 190 days. So almost 200 days worth of price action in this rising wedge. You finally got a breakdown, retest, and so we're expecting a beginning of a breakdown. Looking at our stochastic RSI momentum indicator, you can see on the 4-hourly time frame, you are overbought on this RSI, stochastic RSI. So a breakdown is likely any moment now. You're at resistance, right, on the charts here. You can see that. You come up, come up, come up, come up, broke down, come up at resistance. Next logical move is down on this Bitcoin dominance chart. So I would position myself for a move this weekend. Not financial advice, but this is what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm excited. Guys, hope this was helpful. Hope this was useful. Do expect more frequent updates as the market gets more interesting. All right, take care. Hope you're well, and I'll see you next time.